right, so let's hear the story of the organ. So we're going to start at the organ. This is the console where you play. And Mr. Brillhart, what do you want to show us about this?
The first thing is that when you play the organ, you have to put on your organ shoes. Here they are, my beautiful feet. And these are special shoes in that they're leather, they're very, very thin, they're very uncomfortable, they're very tight. But because of the pipe organ and what you have to do, you have to wear these shoes because down here are keys for the feet to play.
So like on a piano, you play with your fingers, but on the organ, you play with your feet?
With your feet, but also you have a keyboard here, just like a piano keyboard, a keyboard here, another piano keyboard, and a keyboard here. So in effect, it's like having 4 pianos to control with 2 legs and 2 hands. It's really cool.
Wow.
It's kind of like driving a really fancy car, to be quite honest, which is something that I would love to do.
Yeah.
So this organ has 5,000 pipes, and this is one of the pipes
5,000?
that arrived damaged because 5,000 pipes had to travel across the Atlantic Ocean, and some of the pipes shifted in the moving. You may have gotten a delivery during this crazy time that was slightly damaged. Well, this pipe arrived damaged, so it's our dummy pipe, but it plays just like a whistle that you would buy at a Mapes or someplace like that. So, sounds like a flute. The pipe organ is interesting because it's, number one, it's the loudest musical instrument in existence. No other musical instrument can play as loudly as the pipe organ, but it also is incredible because it's the most complex musical instrument made, and in fact, for several hundred years, it was the most complex piece of machinery in existence. So in a moment, we're going to go inside the organ and you'll see just why it was so complex. The organ has been around, it's the earliest musical instrument. I mean, the ancient Greeks had organs of all things. This pipe organ, its roots are in early Europe, like the 11th and the 12th centuries, which is really, really cool. So one of the things that we can do on the pipe organ is imitate the sounds of instruments. Perhaps some of you play some of these instruments. For example, we have a sound that sounds like a clarinet. Now, clarinets, if you play a clarinet, you know they only have a range of several octaves. I have 61 notes I can play, so this clarinet can go extremely low. I have to move over. That is a very low clarinet. We also have the sound of an oboe. Perhaps some of you have started playing the oboe. Very difficult instrument to play, but once you've conquered it, it's beautiful. This is our oboe. This organ not only has one clarinet, it has a second clarinet. Here's the first one. Here's the second. Very different kind of quality, but we can combine both of those clarinets and get this effect. Kind of unusual.
It's like you have an orchestra.
Pretty much like an orchestra. We also have many, many trumpets. The origins of this pipe organ were in France, and in France, the pipe organs always have lots of trumpets. So this organ has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different sets of trumpets. And they are incredibly loud. I'm not going to play them all together. I'll just play 3 different trumpets. Another one. Another one. So those are a few of the trumpets. We even have a trumpet in the pedal. It's a bass trumpet.
So if we ever needed to announce something really important in church, we could have a trumpet fanfare first?
Yes, in fact, I'm going to demonstrate what that trumpet fanfare would sound like. So Pastor Lee and Pastor Rachel may want this.
children's message.
Yeah, I think so. It's 11 trumpets, but many pipes of the trumpets.
That's amazing.
On the quieter side of things, we have lots of flutes. Flutes are really important sounds in the organ. In fact, this dummy damaged pipe was a flute. But let me play a few of those flutes for you. Here's the most beautiful one, I think. Here's another one. What's interesting about that is that the first one is made out of metal, and the second is made out of wood. So there's a slightly different sound made out of those pipes. Here's another flute, it's higher. Here's another flute. And a really high flute. And the highest flute of all, it's actually called piccolo. I can't even hear the highest notes.
Can you hear it?
Probably won't come through on Facebook Live, but who knows?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
In the music, does it tell you which sound to use,
Sometimes.
which voice to use? Sometimes, and sometimes you get to decide?
Most of the time you get to decide. Here are all the flutes together, and it's a pretty sound. Let's do... So every time we have baptisms, that's the tune, although I play it slower because not all parents can sing that quickly.
That's
so
true.
Be really careful about that.
Well, it's part of the organist's job is to keep the whole congregation together.
We try.
We try to keep up with the organ.
There are
too.
times on Sunday mornings when the congregation is noticeably sleepy and I have to play in a very different manner.
Well, thank you for helping us.
Shall we take a look inside?
Let's look inside.
It's awfully cool in there. And I'm going to arrange for some sounds to be ready for Pastor Lee to play. She's very good, but this is her inaugural performance on the pipe organ. I'll even prepare some things in the pedal. So if she wants to play the pedal, it's down here.
Let's go see.
All right, so Lee.
All right.
Pastor Lee, it's all up to you there. I'll give you the high side. Okay. So we're gonna go up to the organ.
I miss seeing all of our choir friends up here.
So
now we're going inside the organ.
This is a very complex piece of machinery. What you have right off in the front of the organ, or actually in the back of the organ, but the first thing that you see in the entrance are the longest pipes of the organ.
Oh, wow.
And if you can look down there, all the way down on the floor,
Whoa.
are boots. They're wooden boots, and in those boots are reeds that vibrate, and when those play, they go up this long pipe, 32 feet high, all the way to the ceiling.
Oh my goodness.
And this wood is 400 years old, so it's been around for quite a while.
Wow.
So this is the ground floor of the organ, and you see all over the place are these wooden strips. These are very fragile. These are connections between the keys of the console and the wind chest that the pipes sit on. If I pull one of these down, I actually am pulling open a valve that allows air to go into the pipe. So let's come on in.
Here we go.
And Pastor Rachel's instructions are she cannot touch anything.
I am not touching anything. I'm being very careful.
There are a lot of things that go wrong in here. So let's go take a look.
This is a very special visit.
At the pipes that are in the keyboard, the very second.
Network connection. Okay, network connection is back. Excellent.
Okay, good. So now I'm going to go inside here. And Pastor Rachel can come in with me. I'm over here. Hello.
Can you see this? The church through the. What are these called?
These are called shutters, and when I close, there's a pedal in the organ that I can push down and close, and it's just like closing the Venetian blinds on your window. So when you close the blinds, less sun can get in, And in the organ, when I close the blinds, less sound can get out, so the organ can then sound quieter in the room.
Very cool.
A while ago, I played a clarinet, and those pipes are right here, and they have these funny little hats on them. You can see right here, this funny little hat. That actually is how you tune the clarinet. You can actually move that little lid open, and that will change how much the pipe will resonate. So it changes the pitch.
Mr. B, how often do we have to tune the organ?
Not very often. It's very stable. A couple of times a year. So perhaps Pastor Lee could play something on the second keyboard. It's going to be loud up here.
Okay.
Here we go.
Ready?
That was so good. Wow.
C chord.
Wow. She's going to replace me. I can see it already. All right. So in here we have all sorts of really cool pipes. There are flutes and
I want to show you guys how
unusual-looking things.
they're tall pipes, and look how little some of these pipes are.
Here's a pipe that's kind of interesting. You see here, this is called a chimney flute. It's a flute, and this is the chimney on the flute. Having the chimney there makes the flute sound a little bit different than its brothers or sisters.
And so over time, people figured out how to make different types of pipes.
Yes.
And so they would add that pipe, and then we will keep adding on and on until even cooler and cooler sounds are made.
Pipe organ builders are incredibly inventive people.
They're very creative.
You also then see in here two kinds of pipes. You see metal pipes, and then right behind you to your left
Oh, here they are.
Wood pipes.
It's very tight in the organ.
Very tight.
But
And
here,
those wood pipes are made out of mahogany and oak.
mahogany, it's very strong wood.
It's very resonant, very beautiful wood.
Look at the wooden pipes. It's so cool to see all these. Why do some of these pipes have hats? They're totally covered.
Again, it has to do with what style of sound it is. So, for example, when this pipe sounds very dark covered because it has a hat on.
Okay.
So it doesn't let as much
And
sound
so you
out.
know what every single one of these pipes sound like. That is
Absolutely.
amazing.
Absolutely.
5,000. That sounds like it could be a parable, Jeff.
Oh. In here is the blower. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to open this or not, but I'm going to.
Ooh.
I don't know if you can see much in there. It's not a very exciting thing to see.
But this is a machine that puts the air.
This creates the airflow that then goes up here, and this is a large trunk that has leather on it. And actually, I can walk up with this.
I'm gonna hand this over. It's pretty easy.
Wow, this is so cool. I hope we still have internet connection.
It'll tell you if we don't.
I love climbing a ladder with one hand. So here is the wind chest, and you see there are all these bricks on it. That keeps the wind pressure absolutely steady. It's very interesting. Now we're crawling into the most important part of the organ. I'm not going to crawl in because it takes a little bit of wiggling. But this is the most important part of the organ. When the congregation sings, these are the pipes that really lead it, and you can see how many pipes there are. Some of these pipes are enormous, ginormous, really incredible stuff. And there are more pipes in a room that's over my head. I don't know whether you can see that, but even in there are more pipes. There are 5,000 of them. So that's this amazing pipe organ. Pastor Lee, would you play something on the first keyboard? Very nice, very nice, very somber. Pastor Lee, would you play just some more, please? Just anything on the second keyboard. Great. So you can see
Cool.
just the carvings you see in the front of the church took over a year.
Wow. So I was going to ask you two questions.
Yes, ma'am.
One is you started to play the organ. How old were you when you started?
I was 11. I was in the 6th grade.
In the 6th grade, and you've been playing for churches all that time.
Yes.
And would you tell us, would you play the very first hymn that you learned to play for your church?
Oh, I'd love to. So the first time I learned how to play was Holy, 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 which in our hymnal is #1.
Because it's like one of the best.
It's one of the best. And I learned it in the 3rd grade, and because I accompanied the Sunday school class in the 3rd grade.
And the words for this are Holy, 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 Lord God Almighty. Those are the first words.
So notice the word Almighty. Almighty is powerful. So I'm going to play a little more powerfully. We'll just do one verse of this. Here we go.